This is another episode of Talks with Tyler ISD, a podcast about the passionate people who have a heart for students. This podcast is brought to you by Texas Bank and Trust. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Talks with Tyler ISD. I'm your host, Jennifer Hines, and joining us today is our Tyler ISD Secondary Teacher of the Year, Abbey Smith. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Such a big honor.
No, it's very exciting.
So you didn't start off wanting to be a teacher.
No.
You actually went to college to be a doctor. Tell us, how did you do that little okay, we're going to go over here now.
Well, I graduated second in my class from White House, and I kind of just thought, well, everybody who's smart goes and becomes a doctor. I wanted to be financially stable, and I was like, okay, doctor. And I got to college and I took my first day of class, Chem 101, and I just had a very hard to handle professor. Mm-hmm. And throughout the semester, it just really wasn't getting any better. It just really wasn't a conducive learning environment.
You were not clicking.
No. And so my high school chemistry teacher ended up tutoring me and a group of friends on the phone for several of our topics that we did, and that kind of made me realize, oh my gosh, this is what I need to be. I need to be a teacher. I want to be the teacher that no matter what the circumstances are, what the topics are, I want to find a way to make sure that my students are learning and that my students love being in my class. And I also wanted to leave an impact. I mean, my chemistry teacher, she was also my Sunday school teacher.
Oh.
And my chem teacher for both pre-AP and AP, and she had a huge impact on me. And so I really just wanted to be able to have a lasting impact on my students as well.
And so this was how you could mix your love for science with your love for wanting to make an impact.
And so after just one semester, I switched over to education.
And so how did you get from education into where you are now? Because you thought maybe you were going to be more of like the preschool, elementary level, those cute little ones that just want to hug you.
They are so cute.
They are.
After my first few placements in elementary education, I realized very quickly that was not my niche. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really into this singing all day, and so I quickly realized that, hey, I needed to follow that love for science. And so I saw an advisor, and they were like, listen, if you switch to middle school now, that's going to put you back a whole other year. So they were like, we'll just make sure that your placements are geared towards science and secondary. And so they really catered to me, and I really love them for that. So once I graduated, I was able to take my certification test for Science 4.8, and then Mr. Claude Lane hired me.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about your journey as you've become a teacher. Like, what's a day like in your classroom?
Oh gosh. I mean, before we ever even get into the classroom, I'm in the hallway, I'm smiling, I'm talking to students, I'm giving hugs, I'm calling students out every now and then for dress code.
Got to do that too.
I'm loud, and you can hear me up and down the halls, and my kids know it. All of our 8th graders know it. And then as they're coming into the classroom, no matter where I am, I'm greeting them, I'm talking to them, I'm asking them questions. I'm saying their names. They they need to know that they are seen, that they're not just a little mouse hiding in a corner.
So that interaction with students is really important to you.
Yes. And then, of course, comes the content.
Yeah.
And I love science. I love science. I love the how, I love the why, and that's kind of why I've always gravitated towards science. And so just that love of the content and making sure that my kids really get it is kind of just where I am now.
Those aha moments are always the best.
Love those aha moments.
Well, and of course, you have been blessed with being with an incredible team this entire time that you have been at Moore. Tell us a little bit about how you are able to align all of y'all's lessons together and work together.
So Miss McCullough and I have been together for 14 years, and then Mr. Magnuson joined us 12 years ago, and the three of us are 100% aligned. And lesson alignment is great because everybody has a role, everybody picks up a piece, and because you're not trying to do everything all at once, we have the time to get innovative and to create and to say, hey, my kids didn't get this, let's do something new. And no matter where you go, our appraisers can go from one room to the next, and we're all doing the same exact thing. Which is also great when it comes to our blended learning lessons that we have. No matter what classroom you're in, all of the students are getting the same lesson, the same content, the same time, the same way. Even our kids who aren't at school, if kids are out for a prolonged period of time. During COVID, this was great because we had...
Yeah, you were forced to go into blended learning. You didn't have a choice.
But we made sure that we had that equity between all levels. No matter where a kid was, we wanted them to still have access to the content. And one of the other great things about that is that differentiation for our varied learning levels. So kids could take it at their pace.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
I love that. Let's talk about, everybody always has to talk about assessments. We do have to assess because we need to know where our students are. That's always extremely important. But y'all, the formative assessment, y'all have so many layers embedded into all of y'all's stuff. Talk to us about how you kind of not trick them, but kind of they're having fun while learning.
Yes. Okay, so formative assessment is a really big push right now. And we never just do the basic. We always go and just jump into the deep end. And so we have just stretched our formative assessment any way imaginable. So we've got our lessons, we've got chunks of material, and after each chunk, we are assessing right then and there, whether it is through test cards or challenges. Kids love to get stickers, even 8th graders.
Of course they do.
Everybody
wants a sticker.
Oh yeah. Card sorts, we have these ABCD card games. We call them Sum It Ups at the end of our lessons, boom cards, quizzes, Quizlets, lab stations, game kits, everything. And so you're just piecing all of these things in. So by the time they get to their graded assignment, we've already provided the necessary intervention and they're going to succeed, period. They can't not succeed because
they've had fun doing it the whole time.
Yeah, and they've already seen
more.
it every single way. With Star now, there's so many varied ways that they could see different topics, the different assessment styles, different question styles. And so when we're giving them access to the content in a varied style of ways, then they're ready.
They've seen it from all sides.
Yeah, they're ready. And our kids at Moore do great. We've actually gotten 7 science distinctions. We've had science distinctions ever since they began in 2013. So that's what... They just released the 22-23 data.
Yes.
So that's...
We've got a little bit more to go.
9, 9's every year we've gotten a science distinction. And that's, that's team
huge.
Coming together. Yeah. But also just our love of the content and making sure our kids get it.
And you're going in the right direction when you get that distinction as well.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the 8th grade science review camp. This sounds really cool.
Yes. Okay, so in 2012, Kenya McCullough and I created this science review camp. We had gone to CAST in the fall, the Conference for the Advancement of Science Teachers, and we had seen this, and we came back and we were like, okay, we're going to do this. Well, it was a massive undertaking, 400 plus hours worth of work. So all of our 8th graders participate. Kids are in groups of 3. We have a student leader and we have 2 learners, and we handpick those groups based on data from the district assessment tracker and personality, and sometimes even height.
Yes.
You've got tall 8th graders, you've got short 8th graders. And we put these groups together, and the leader is actually taking their group through the 60-station camp. Each station is 3 minutes long.
60 stations.
Yes.
Wow, this really is a big undertaking.
It is. Now, when we first created it, it was 114 stations.
Oh,
it
wow.
was all day long. Well, now we've kind of joined forces with our social studies department, and so kids spend half the time in social studies and half the time in science, and then we switch them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So it works out really great because then we're able to make sure that our kids are getting the review for social studies as well, because they're just as important.
Absolutely.
And so our leaders are taking them through this camp, and each station is 3 minutes. Each one focuses on a TEK. We've got content, we've got a hands-on activity, we've got STAR questions. And the best thing about this is that our leaders are also reviewing. Like, these are our kids who...
These are student leaders.
Yes.
When you say leaders.
Yes. So they have a notebook with every answer to every single station, so they feel super confident. I actually spend a 90-minute class period the week before training them and giving them practice on how to be a leader, showing them how to do small group teaching, and so they feel confident going into that day, and they kill it every year. It's really empowering as a teacher to watch them go through this and lead other kids, lead their peers, because there's something about hearing it from a peer.
Right, the peer-to-peer learning, there is something to be said. Yeah. They will listen.
Yes, and so for our leaders, teaching is one of the best ways to make sure that you know the content. It's scientifically proven. Data shows. And so it's also for them to make sure that they're reaching their goals of that mastery level on their Science Star test.
Wow, that sounds like such a fun thing. Now, another fun thing that you get to be a part of is that you are the science fair coordinator.
Yes.
It used to only be for Moore Middle School. It is now expanded district-wide.
Yes.
It's huge.
Huge.
Tell us just a little bit about how that has evolved. I mean, y'all have really come a long way.
Yes. Okay, so when I took over science fair, this was my second year teaching, we were sending about 1 to 2 students every couple of years to the state competition. We took 10 every year to the regional competition in Kilgore, and then every now and then we'd go to state. But somewhere along the way, I created our science fair workbook. And ever since the creation of that, we are sending 3 to 4 students to state every single year. Last year, we sent 7.
Wow.
School record of 7, and 4 of them were my own. So that was really exciting for me. I actually got to take the kids and just really see the whole process. But we used to also attend the Tyler Junior College Science Fair, and then that they stopped hosting that. They were lacking involvement. And so Mr. Lane and I said, let's do our own science fair. So it started out as the Moore Science Fair, and then it has evolved into the Tyler ISD Science Fair. And so every year we have more and more participation. It's open to all elementary and specifically 5th grade and middle school campuses in Tyler ISD. And we actually have some interest from outside schools as well who want to attend.
They want access to be able to compete too.
Yes, and so we have about 100 to 130 projects that compete every year. It used to be the beginning of January. Now it's the end of December, just because other fair timelines have moved forward. And we have 20 places, 10 that are in physical science, 10 biological, and this year Moore took home 17 of those. So very exciting. 5 were mine.
5, yeah. You're like, I'm claiming those 5.
Yes, absolutely. But it's fun. It's great to see the kids just really taking something that they enjoy, something that they're interested in, and just diving headfirst into it and really getting into inquiry. And it's just setting them up for success in those AP colleges or AP classes that they're going to take in high school.
Yeah, so important.
Yes.
Speaking of teaching, tell me just a little bit about, what are your beliefs when it comes to teaching? What is it that you want to connect with the children and your students?
Kids they're mirrors. They are going to reflect us. And so my biggest thing is when I come in the classroom, my disposition, I've got to have a smile on my face. Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
Everybody has hard days. But also, teaching comes second to building a foundational relationship with our kids. They need to be seen. They need to know that I can look at them and know that they have value regardless of where they come from, what happened that morning, maybe what happened the period before, and just really care about them and see them. And once I have that relationship built, they're open to listening to me and learning from me. And they know you're on their side.
Yeah.
And then when you pair that with I have very high expectations in my classroom and very structured, very organized. love classroom management. I pride myself in it. And so when you put all those things together, that respect, it just kind of flows naturally.
So how would your students describe you?
Okay, so funny story. Last Friday, I decided to have a poll on the students' way into tutorials, and they actually all were voting. So my students and any 8th grader, they were voting on their words to describe me. So the number one word was loud. Shocker. Energetic, nobody would know that, and then funny.
Oh,
I
those are good ones.
love having sarcasm when my class, like 8th graders get sarcasm.
Oh,
I
yes,
love
they do.
8th graders. They're fun and they just get it, but also they're still at that age where you can positively impact them. You know, not just academically, but personally. They're still moldable, I guess.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what about your colleagues? How would they describe you?
Also loud.
Okay, so
Also
loud.
loud.
You're loud in the halls?
Yes.
Okay, so they know that
They
you're there.
can hear me teaching, even if all the doors are closed. So some other words that they gave me were tenacious, which I like to combine with passionate.
Yeah.
I'm really passionate about my kids. I fight for my kids. And also I'm passionate about the curriculum. I love science.
Yeah.
And that comes across. If you love what you're talking about, what you're teaching, your kids are automatically going to be more interested in it.
Yeah.
Structured and innovative.
I love it. It does. I mean, everything that we've talked about, I can see why they would describe you that way.
You know, and we had a TEKS overhaul this year with science, and for the first time in several years, we got to start from scratch with writing curriculum and creating, and it was overwhelming at times, don't get me wrong, but it was also so fun. I had forgotten how much I love to write curriculum and just make sure that I'm embedding all of those things in, like formative assessment and just the way you're presenting things to kids, because it just makes it more fun. And if you're having fun and if they're having fun,
then learning is happening.
Yeah, it is. But also, you know, it's more enjoyable. And if you don't love what you're doing, that comes across to your kids. And this isn't just my job. This is my mission place. Like, this is God's will for my life.
Oh, I love that. It's very easy to see with everything that we've talked about why you're our secondary district teacher of the year. What is something that you would like for listeners to know about that maybe we haven't covered yet, or one takeaway that you would like for them to remember from listening to this episode?
Gosh, don't just have high expectations for your kids. Have high expectations for yourself. You know, again, be passionate about what you're doing. And that's going to come across to the kids regardless of what's going on. And be willing to innovate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to step out there. Try something new.
It's a lot of work. But when you're putting in the work, the kids are going to put in the work. You know, don't just randomly Google, hey, what can I do to teach this? Go out there, find resources, put it together, create it. Don't just chat GPT it.
Because we know some of you out there do that.
But, you know, just love what you're doing.
Yeah.
I love what I'm doing. And, you know, sometimes that passion can fall to the side. We all have those down years, but then just pick yourself back up.
Bounce right back.
And do it again. I mean, I love my kids. I love more. And I love the people I work with.
Well,
and I love Tyler ISD. I mean, where else are kids going to have as many opportunities as we can provide them?
Well, and thank you for being a part of those opportunities for our students in Tyler ISD. Thank you again, Abbey Smith, our secondary district teacher of the year. Thank you for watching this episode of Talks with Tyler ISD. And if you would like to learn about all things Tyler ISD, we would love for you to subscribe to our newsletter at get.tylerisd.news. We would like to thank our sponsor, Texas Bank and Trust. Subscribe to Talks with Tyler ISD on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Please share this episode with your friends and family.